Hello YouTube. In Part 6 of Don't Vote for the Douche or the Turd, I exposed Obama's flip-flops on Iraq and late-term abortion. I revealed the second reason why I'm not voting for Obama, which is his radical pro-abortion voting record, which drove Obama to vote against the Victims Born Alive Protection Act, which, if passed, would have stopped the grisly practice of murdering babies born after failed abortion attempts. And how even top pro-abortion senators like Ted Kennedy, Hillary Clinton, and Barbara Boxer later voted for a federal version that even groups like NARAL had no objections, and thank God that one actually passed. Now in Part 7 you will hear Obama's top 10 excuses and my rebuttals to them. You'll hear some of them anyway. The quotes I'll use, some of the quotes are from actual transcripts from all votes and debates taken on the bill, which Obama took part in as an Illinois state senator. I've posted links to these transcripts in the description of this video. Without further ado, excuse number 10 was made on March 30th, 2001. I want to suggest that this is probably not going to survive constitutional scrutiny. Number 1, whenever we define a pre-viable fetus as a person that is protected by the Equal Protection Clause or the other elements in the Constitution, what we're really saying is, in fact, that there are persons that are entitled to the kinds of protections that we provided to a 9-month child that was delivered to term. I mean, it would essentially bar abortions, because the Equal Protection Clause does not allow somebody to kill a child. And if this is a child, then this would be an anti-abortion statute. For that purpose, I think it would probably be found unconstitutional. Firstly, even if Obama's prediction of the bill were to be struck down by activist judges were to come true, that still doesn't change the fact that every American citizen, including babies born after a failed abortion attempt, have natural rights guaranteed to them by the Constitution, such as the right to life, and that nobody has the legal or moral right to take away. Secondly, with advances in medical science, the definition of viability isn't as clear-cut as it used to be. The chances of survival of once non-viable fetuses, while there is still room for improvement, has gone up, and unless child-killing perverts like Obama have their way, will continue to do so with further advancements in medical science. As of 2006, the two youngest babies to survive premature birth are James Elgin Gill, who was born on May 20th, 1987 at 21 weeks 5 days, and Amelia Taylor on October 24, 2006 at 21 weeks 6 days, and they both are so far healthy. Thirdly, the argument that bills like this would bar all abortions is unfounded fear-mongering. The final version of the Illinois State Senate bill and the later version of the federal version of the bill both contain explicit language that they not be used to overturn Roe v. Wade. Reason number 9 was on March 5th, 2002. What we're doing here is to create one more burden on women, and I can't support that. Politicians do this all the time. They defend the indefensible by hiding behind something. Bush invaded Iraq and gutted our Constitution while hiding behind democracy and freedom. And Obama justified what, even by the standards of many of the most radical pro-aborts, is infanticide, while hiding behind the morally and intellectually bankrupt shadow of its former self that passes for feminism these days. Excuse number 8 was made in the Chicago Tribune interview on August 2004, where Obama said that the Born Alive Infants Protection Act would have taken away from doctors their professional judgment when a fetus is viable. What doctors? Abortionists are not doctors. They are contract killers posing as doctors. To call these vermin doctors is a slap in the face to real doctors who save lives instead of betraying their Hippocratic oath like modern-day Judases for a few pieces of silver. If abortionists are legitimate medical doctors, then so is Joseph Mengele, whose list of victims includes millions of Jews in concentration camps. Excuse number 7 was made in the Chicago Sun-Times in October 2004, where he told the following lie. Physicians are already required to use life-saving measures when fetuses are born alive during abortions. The following is a portion of an actual testimony from Chicago nurse Jill Stanek, who testified in favor of the Born Alive Infant Protection Act when it was being debated and voted on in the Illinois State Senate on July 20th, 2000. I'm a registered nurse who has worked in the Labor and Delivery Department at Christ Hospital in Oak Lawn, Illinois for the past 5 years. Christ Hospital performs abortions on women in their second and third trimesters of pregnancy. Sometimes the babies being aborted are healthy, and sometimes they are not. The method of abortion that Christ Hospital uses is called induced labor abortion. also known as live birth abortion. Yes, you heard that right, folks. This type of abortion can be performed different ways, but the goal is to cause a pregnant woman's cervix to open so that she will deliver a premature baby who dies during the birth process or soon afterward. The way that induced abortion is most often executed in my hospital is by the physician inserting a medication called cytotec into the birth canal close to the cervix. Cytotec irritates the cervix and stimulates it to open. When this occurs, the small preterm baby drops out of the uterus, oftentimes alive. It is not uncommon for one of these live aborted babies to linger for an hour or two or even longer. One of them once lived for almost 8 hours. In the event that a baby is aborted alive, he or she receives no medical assessments or care, but is only given what my hospital calls comfort care. Comfort care is defined as keeping the baby warm in a blanket until he or she dies. Although even this minimal compassion is not always provided, it is not required that these babies be held during their short lives. One night, a nursing co-worker was taking an aborted Down syndrome baby who was born alive to our soiled utility room, because his parents did not want to hold him, and she did not have time to hold him. I could not bear the thought of this suffering child dying alone in a soiled utility room. So I cradled and rocked him for the 45 minutes that he lived. He was 21 to 22 weeks old, weighed about ½ a pound, and was about 10 inches long. He was too weak to move very much, expanding any energy as he trying to breathe. Toward the end, he was so quiet that I couldn't tell if he was still alive, unless I held him up to the light to see if his heart was still beating through his chest wall. After he was pronounced dead, we folded his little arms across his chest, wrapped him in a tiny shroud, and carried him to the hospital morgue, where all of our dead patients are taken. I humbly apologize, but YouTube has a strict time limit of 10 minutes for videos, so this testimony will have to continue in Part 8 of Don't Vote for the Douche or the Turd, and believe me, it gets even worse.